only thing I know for certain is that there's no reason I should be alive, and yet I am. And that means I have to keep going.
Georgia, good morning.
Good morning, Jeff. Thanks for having me.
Oh, my pleasure. Thanks for joining me today. Congratulations on the series, and it has to be exciting for you. As an author, though, did you have any concerns over Hollywood telling your story? How was the working with Hollywood bringing it to the screen?
I might have had concerns, but I partnered with exactly the right people. It all began thanks to a phone call from my friend Tommy Kail, who's director and producer. He and I go back about 20 years. And when he said, "Hey, pal, can we work on this together and take your story to the screen?" It felt like a dream come true. And I was able to be a part of the process every single step of the way, from pitch to writer's room to production and now post-production. And I also felt that same warmth as soon as the show found its home with Hulu. They really embraced it and showed us so much trust, and it that worked both ways, and took it into their hearts the way that I had. Tommy had Erica Lopez, our phenomenal showrunner. And I think perhaps because it stemmed with this friendship between me and Tommy, that trickle down effect really felt real. Everybody really took such incredible care with it. The resounding theme I heard from start to finish, from our phenomenal cast to heads of departments down to the person in charge of moving vehicles who had approached me at some point on set, was, "We are so grateful. Thank you for bringing us this story. And we just really hope we're doing it justice. That's our mission, to do it justice." And that just felt so moving.
And was there moments in the series where, you were writing these things in your book, but all of a sudden they came alive? Was there a moment or a sequence that you always pictured in your head, but when you saw the final sequence come to life, it was kind of overpowering? Or
All of it. All of it was so overpowering. Yeah, I'd only ever imagined it, and seeing these worlds come together, in a way, it felt like stepping back in history. I tried to do that in writing the book and putting myself in the shoes and hearts and minds of my ancestors, but seeing it and seeing their expressions and the relationships and the back and forth banter between siblings brought it to a whole new level of real for me. That was very powerful. One moment in particular, actually, we hadn't even started shooting yet, but the cast, I walked through the set of their apartment for the first time, the Quartz family apartment, with the cast just before we began shooting, and just bowled over by the details that our set designers had put in, and the effort that they had put in to create the space, down to every little last piece of china and crystal and the wallpapers. And we all just got really quiet and kind of teary, and walking through these rooms and running our hands over the piano, which my grandfather was a composer. And so we'd shoot a scene later that week with him at the piano. And it felt like the ancestors were there with us. It really was a special moment.
Helena! You look short.
Oh, it's probably all the high heels in Paris. Hello, Madame Yagoda.
We ran into each other on the train. Caught me up on all the Rodham gossip.
And your brother told me about life as a famous composer.
Famous is generous.
Been shopping?
Yes, I've been indulging in the spring Paris fashion.
I think they may have taken advantage of you. Mother was carrying a similar style of dress in the fall. If only you had thought to stop in.
But I would not have had the pleasure of Paris.
Of course.
And while watching this series, I couldn't believe just how relevant your family story is today, with the anti-Semitism in the world. And this isn't that long ago. And so I keep thinking that those who don't know history are doomed to repeat it, So while watching this, I just thought, is this 2024 or was this, 1940?
I know. I never thought, when I set out in 2008 to record the story, that it would feel so relevant today. It does. There's a story, it's an example of what can happen when people stop seeing each other as human beings, and it's scary and heartbreaking. It does feel like history repeating itself, but I hope at its core, despite being set to the backdrop of the Holocaust, that people take away that this is really a story about a family, and the threads of courage and hope and perseverance and love are woven so deeply throughout it. And so I hope in this time we learn a little bit of lessons in history, but also we take away some inspiration and some hope. I know that's what I took away from the writing of it and the making of the series as well. So I hope audiences have a similar reaction.
I took away the humanity. So yes,
Yeah, the humanity.
it's there front and center. So Georgia,
Oh,
congratulations.
thank
And
you.
thank you so much for joining me today. And let's talk again soon. Thank you.